Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is part 21, I'm not sure, ED, I've lost count, of our sub-series of our Let's Get Cooking series of where we're doing our storage. Last time we did some quite hefty functions. I said we're going to start on the UI today. We will, but then we've just got to quickly add in our interface calls here. Nothing too complex on them, so we're going to go ahead and do them straight away. Then hopefully, if we get everything done today, we should have a working system. So let's start them from the top. Let's do the remove from stock first, and that is very simple because we did everything last time. We've got our fn remove from stock function, and we're doing that. Okay. The way the system's working is the kitchen manager is handling what stock is available. Then it's calling the shelves to actually update the data on them, or the storage units to update their own data. And that's how we're working this system. And the next one we're going to do is add stock to storage. So we got our stock to add here. Okay. And then we've got our update stock storage, which is the last one we did. We start at index 0. Okay, because it recursively calls that. I just want to make sure inside here I did remember to add that. I didn't. Let me just double check that. Yes, very importantly, so make sure in your update stock on storage, where we got here, we add the current index, which yes. Yeah. Make sure you add the current index to the storage index here. Okay. Or else you would have problems. Okay. So back to where we were. We did the add stock to storage. We've called that. So quite simple. The next one is get stock data. That's pretty self-explanatory. And triple check, make sure. So we've got our in stock items here, and our max stock here. Oh, nice and simple. And the last one, is it? No, got refreshed storage data. Okay, so refresh stock items, let's just say. All we do on here is we say set current stock levels. Okay. And the last one is add storage actor to map. This is probably the not complicated at all, but it's probably the longest out of all of these. We simply get an is valid, but this time we're going to use the function with the little f because we want the s. We get that twice because if these are not valid, there's no point adding them because it's just going to cause a problem. So we use an and boolean, so as long as both of these are valid, we haven't made any mistakes in the setups, it should work. the branch. Do that. Then we get our storage actor map. This one here. And we say add map function. Get the actor reference. Do some rewrote notes, I'm afraid. So there. And the data asset reference. Again, a couple of rewrote notes. There. And then we say set max stock levels. Okay. Because we're calling this once each item has come to life inside the world when we start the game. So, hey, I'm here. I'm going to add myself to your map. And I believe that's all we do have to do inside of this. So let's get on with some UI. No point doing anything if we can't get it to work. So we've got our UI folder. I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call this, I'm going to call this temp shop because, like I said before, I will be doing a slightly better version of the UI by using an in-game tablet. Okay, so this one we've got quite a few things to add. So let's add the non-UI element first. We're going to go here, we're going to blueprint class. I'm just going to select object on its own. We're going to call this obj for object underscore cart entries. We're going to open him up and we're going to add two things in here, so two variables. First one is going to be item data, and that's going to be of the A bulk item. And the other variable we're going to add is quantity, and that's going to be an integer. Okay, compile, we can close that, we don't need to worry about that one anymore. The rest are UI elements. So let's make the base classes for them first. So user widget blueprint, just a normal user widget. The first one is going to be called WDT for widget. Main. We can duplicate that because we've got nothing in it at the moment. We're going to call this shop slots. And we're going to do another duplicate. And we're going to call this WDT confirm by. Now we will be duplicating that later because there's another one that's very similar to it, but for now that's all we're going to do. So let's get the worst of them done at first. Let's do the shop slot. Say worst, it's got the most data in it. Okay, so let's do a desired on screen. First thing we're going to do is add a border. Okay, you won't see much at the moment because it's very tiny, but we'll worry about that in a minute. Let's set it up as we go along. We're going to draw it as a rounded box. I can't get it any bigger than that right now, but you'll get the gist in a minute. We're going to do the corner radii as 10 across the board. We're going to have it as fixed radius. You see it's actually disappearing in there, but don't worry about that. The outline is going to be white 100% on the opacity, or 1 on the opacity. And the line width, we're going to do 2. You can see at the moment it's really showing nothing good. And the tint, we're going to turn the alpha like that. Okay. It'll come to life in just a moment. Next thing we're going to do is add to that a vertical box. And there is padding on the border of 6. Now you see we're getting a little bit more something on the screen. As we see, the vertical box also has 6 padding. Okay. Now we're going to add a size box to the vertical box, and that size box is going to have a height and a width override of 180. Now you can see we're starting to stretch that out a bit, and so you can see it. Okay, 180, no padding, auto, let's centralize it there. To that size box, we're going to add another border. Like so. Oh, make sure it goes inside the size box. And on that border, we're going to add an overlay. And the border, having no padding there. Okay, the overlay should also have no padding. Okay. Then we're going to have an image. I think we need to set the border up a little bit more first. Let me just set the border up first. So the border is going to be drawn as a rounded box. And the tint is going to be 0 in the alpha. Fixed height radius of 4 across the board. Color of white at 1 opacity. And the line width 1.5. We've got our border in there. Our overlay fine like that. Our image, we're going to set center to center on our overlay. And we're going to do, let's set it as size. Sorry, the overlay should be full. The image should be central. And the image size, we're going to set for 256. Okay, so it should sit nicely inside there. I believe the overlay, maybe a little bit of padding. So 4. Yeah, 4 for your padding on your overlay. Then we're going to have a text. Sorry about the sound there. I'm going to put text on the overlay. We're going to set text to our favourite font, or my favourite font for this game anyway. Set it to colour. We're going to set it to bottom and across the width. And we're going to make sure this is a variable, and we're going to call it name text. Okay. Then I think yes, the justification of the text we need to set to central. Like so. Then we now add another text, so you can go ahead and duplicate this. Actually, I kept this text white at this particular time. You can't see it, so I'm just select an image. I don't know, just select any image for now. Like so. So we've got something to look at. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this text. The size is the same, but we're going to add it to the vertical box so it drops below it. I'm going to check on my text sizes. So this one I made to 18. And this one I also made to 18. Okay. There's no padding, I believe. Yes, there is. So this one I've put as 5 padding on the top. So open up your padding, go to your top, add 5. And put some example text in it. So price each, blah, blah, blah. So we get the idea what that one's going to be for. Now we add a horizontal box to our vertical box here. And we add a button to the horizontal box. And to that we add a text to the button. Okay, and for the text, I'm going to put minus sign for now. We're going to format this button. So it's quite a lot. First of all, let's give it a name. Call it down. Excuse me. It's auto. It's centralized this way. Okay, so let's have a look. So we've got our style. We're opening up the tint. We've gone down to 0. Here it's a rounded box. But you notice there's no border, so you use brush transparency. We uncheck that. Outline is white. And the rest can stay the same. And basically what we do then is we copy the style. So we copy the normal. We put it on the hovered, pressed, and disabled. So they're all the same. We change the text on our button. I put the padding as where did I put the padding as? Okay. 2, 1, 2, 1. I change the font. Font size is still 24. Color is 1. Okay, that's fine. That. I then added a size box. A horizontal box, like so. And the size box has a width and a height override. The width is 60. The height is 50. Okay. And padding is 6 on the left and 6 on the right. So go to that padding, 6 and 6. Okay. Then we go to our button and duplicate the button. We move it across the other side there. We change this to up. And everything else should be set the same. We change the text to plus. It doesn't quite look right. Okay, maybe it's a horizontal box. So the horizontal box should be set to central. That centralizes that up. Then we basically duplicate the button again, but we move that one to the vertical box. We put it down below here. We also need a text in the size box. Nearly forgot. So you can copy one of these texts, it's okay. Add it in the size box, like so, and just change it to 0. Okay, fine. The button, we're just going to change the text on the button. Add to cart. And there's that button done. I don't have any padding on the button. No, that's fine. Yep, that's as is. Okay, so now we've got our slot done. We can start doing some code for this, so we'll get ahead and do that straight away. And a quick function, and the function is called set item data. Okay, and it's going to make sure we've got everything correct here. So this should be a variable. This should be a variable, and we're going to call this price text. This should be a variable. We're going to call this amount. The icon should be a variable. The image should be a variable, which it is. image. Fine. And that is what we need. In the event graph, we need to add a variable. You can call it, so we need three variables. Okay. So we need one called item data. Which is exposed on spawn. So it's going to be a DA bulk item first. Let's get that right first. It's going to be instant editable exposed on spawn. We're going to add one called max by quantity. That's an integer. Also exposed on spawn. Instant editable. Then we're going to have one more. We can duplicate that, but we don't need this one. Instant editable exposed on spawn. We're going to rename that to by quantity. Okay. So our set item data, we're going to grab our item data here. We're going to get a few things from here. We're going to get item name. We're going to get icon. And we're going to get price. These three in hand, we can go ahead and do what we need to do. So we're going to drag in our name text. Going to set the text. Make sure we use the correct one. That's the simplest because it's name to name, no problem, no conversions needed. Going to get our image. I'm going to say set boss. Not sure. Set boss from soft texture because this is a soft texture. Going to get our price text. Set the text. In here. Then we're going to format this text. Like so. I'm just going to copy and paste what I've done. So we've got price each, curly bracket, P for price, close curly brackets. Press enter, you should get a P here. Get from here and say to text, to text float, you'll get this node. Do a little few adjustments on here. So maximum fractions we only want is 2 because we're dealing with money. We don't want any more than 2. Let's take the same. And we put that into a P for price. That's that function done. In the event graph, we call that on construct. So let's drag it in and call that now before we forget. We call it on our construct. Don't need that tick. We don't need that one. Now the next one is we need to add an event dispatcher. So we'll get an event dispatcher and we call it on add to cart clicked. And that has two inputs. We need to pass along the data from here. The first one is going to be quantity. And that is our integer. And the next one is going to be call it item data, and that is of type DA bulk items. Compile. Go back to our designer, go to our cart, we click the button, and we find the on-clicked event. We click that, and we say, we drag this out, and we say, call. I'm just going to go and rename that button. We're going to call that add to cart button. Okay, so we call that. We use by quantity for quantity and the item data for the item data. Okay, make sure you set those. And then we go back to our function again. We click on this button. We say add. Go back again. Click on the plus button. Add the on-click event. So we've got the two, the up and the down. Okay. So we get our by quantity. And we negate it. Decrement it, I should say, not negate it, decrement it. And we check if this is less than 0. If it's true, we get our max by quantity. We get our by quantity. And we set it to that. Okay. Yes, so basically if we're going backwards, basically it'll flip it around to the full max, so it saves you having to keep going all the way around. So I've done it that way. And copy and paste that for the false. If it's not, then we set it to whatever the result of this is. Like so. And this one, instead of negate, we increment. Instead of decrement, we increment. And we're saying this is greater than the max by amount or quantity. And if it's true, we do something. If it's false, we do something else. So if it's true, we'll flip it round to 0. So you can keep on looping. And if it's false, we set it to this value. Okay. Then we're getting our quantity text, which I don't think we named properly. Let's make sure we name it properly. Yeah, amount text. Okay. We're dragging our amount text. We set text. And we set the by text to the by quantity. So dragging a by quantity, which we've just set up here. Drag it onto here. And we connect all 4 of these like so. Okay. Relatively simple. And that's all the code we do in there. Remember how I set the by quantity. Oh, I think we set it when we do the other part. Let's see how we're going on for time. I don't want to go too long, 34 minutes. Okay, we can go on a bit longer. So let's do the next one. Is going to be the main one. Let's get that one done. So we're going to go and open up our UI folder, shop main. Get that one done. Okay, this one we start with the canvas panel. Okay. I put a background blur, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Into the canvas panel, and I've set the background blur to 12. And the blur amount. And I've set its anchors to be full screen. Basically, it'll blur everything around that. Okay, quite a lot on this actually. So we've got a border. And this border, so we used to go on a canvas panel, not the background. The anchors for this border are I've set the anchors for this border. What have I done? Okay. Set the anchors for the border to be full screen. So Control Shift and hit that. But I've done an offset of 100 on each of these. And alignment is 0.5, 0.5. That centralizes it in the middle of our screen. A padding of 40 for contents. Hint of black. Again, choose your own colors, up to you. Draw as a rounded box. Fixed radius. And the radius is 40. The border color, or the outline color, is solid white. And a thickness of 5. Going for some quite meaty here. You've got a nice thick rounded border like so. To this I've then added a vertical box. To that I've added a text. Set the font on the text. Set on text, sorry. Normal text, okay. It looked a bit strange. So I've set that text to be auto, central, no padding. Put some blurb text in it, but put whatever you like in. The name of your supply store. I've used my normal text and I've made it quite a big font size. See it, and I've kept it at, that's fine, like so. Now, got that. Why is that? Okay, no, it's okay. Then I added a horizontal box. A vertical box. Set that to fill. And there's padding of all round on that of 30, so let's add 30 for your padding. Drops it in there a little bit. Inside that I've added a scroll box. And inside the scroll box I've added a wrap box. Like so into the scroll box. In the wrap box I've left, I think, pretty well, yeah, pretty well standard. Okay, but you can play around with it yourself, however you decide you like it. Okay, so make sure the scroll box is set to fill. Then I added another border to the horizontal box, like so. This border is set to fill, but at 0.3 of the distance. I'm just going to copy and paste the appearance over, then I'll go through it just to save a little bit of time. So all I've done for the appearance from here, padding I've put to 15, content padding, the other padding is 0. So what I've done for here is I've set it as a 0 tint, rounded box, 20 radius, white outline with a width of 3. So if I actually close all this, you see we've got this effect. Okay. So what have we got inside that? I've added another vertical box inside this border with a padding of 15, which we've already got. Take over from before. I've added a text, and I'm just going to copy and paste these just to try and save you some time. You know how to add a text box. So it just says formatting. I've just formatted it with a name. I've done a text font size of 20. Everything else should be the same. It's auto, so on and so forth. Okay, then the next thing, I'm going to actually add this one because this is something we haven't used before. Is another vertical box. Sorry. So vertical box on top of that vertical box. Okay, so make sure you set that one to fill. And that has a padding of 5 overall. Okay. And while we're on the vertical boxes, check which one that's in. Okay. Again, I'm going to copy and paste this, the horizontal box to the main vertical box. So it goes below this one. And inside that, we've got 2 texts. Okay, one says cart total, the other says the amount. The amount is set to be justified to the right. They're both set to be full. And this one's set to be justified to the left. Make sure they're variables, or this one's a variable. Okay. This one doesn't have to be. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to copy it to try and save a little bit of time. The same vertical box, which is the main one. Add a button. Again, it's the same sort of format button as we've been doing before. Set the tint to nothing. All right across the board. White border, just with the word checkout. make sure your button is a variable. I've called it checkout button. And again, I'm going to copy this to the very main vertical box, which is this one up here. I've added a horizontal box, which is the full width with a button. There's close on it, and that's auto with a text on it. This is set to be right justified and filled, and that just says balance, so that will give us an update balance of our money. And now the one that is a bit different that we haven't used before, we're going to add a list view, and we're going to add that to here. Okay, we're going to set it to fill, and you immediately see we have no entry widget class specified on this list. Even if doing custom stuff, this is always required. So if we try and compile it now, it will fail, okay, because of this. So how are we going to get away with that? So we need to make one, okay. You could go in user and then play around with it, but I found the easiest way of doing it is to get it to do it itself. So if you select that, scroll down through here, in here somewhere it's a list entries entry widget class. Got nothing we can select because it takes us a very specific type of widget, okay. So we just click add. Tell you where you want to add it. So let's add it to here. Temp shop. We're going to call it car entries. And click save. It automatically opens up a widget. Now, why is this special? If we actually look, it has an interface of user list entry. However, we're going to change that just a little. And we are going to change it to okay, so we're going to select on here on our class settings. We are going to find this user list entry. We're going to cross it out and say no. Then we're going to add, type in list, and we're going to add in a user object list entry. Okay, it gives us the same, but just gives us an extra item here. Okay, and our main widget is still happy with that. Okay, so let's design that one while we're here. Very simple one. We're going to click on desired on screen. Look at the border. Come out a bit. The border is going to be, again, I'm just going to copy and paste it and then run over it because I'm trying to save a little bit of time. Okay, so again, we have just fixed radius, rounded box of 6, width of 1, transparent background. This is text off and white outline. Okay, and in here we're going to add a horizontal box. Again, I'm going to copy and paste it just to save time. And in here, it's just a horizontal box with 2 texts, one called name text, which is a variable, make sure it's a variable. set to whatever font you want. I've done size 24 this font, but whatever you prefer. Make sure your text justification is to the left on that one. Quantity text is the same. Okay, it's the same size, same setup, except I've made this justified to right and fill. This is fill and central. Make sure they're both central inside the box. First one is set to auto. This one, second one is set to fill. Okay. We'll do a little bit of work in the graph here. We've got a very simple function. Let's make that set item. Okay, and we have on here we have two inputs with name of type text and value, which is actually the quantity, so we could call it quantity. And that's an integer. We get in our name text, like so. Get text. Like so. And we get in our quantity text. Set text again. We format this text. And we get quantity, space, curly brackets, Q for quantity, close curly brackets, enter. We go from here and we say to text, integer, and we join that into here. And default values are fine for that. So that's all we need for there. In our event graph, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to say on list item object set. So event on list item object set. So we'll have this. And then we'll say cast to, and we called it obj j underscore cart entries we made earlier on in the video. We're going to get data. And we get the quantity. Like so. We're going to run that function we just made from through there. We're going to get name from here. And the quantity goes to the quantity. And that's all we do in this widget. I'll save, make sure you save that, go there and save. Now you'll see we've got it populated with 5. Don't worry, it clears itself, but it always gives you, and you can, test it. It actually does an auto scroll if you wanted to, which we do. So, we can change the number designer preview entries so you can see what you're going to look like. So that's cool. Now in our main graph of our shop, we have quite a lot now. I'm a little bit worried about time. So I'm going to call it here, and we're going to do the coding for the main shop in the next video. As always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If you've got any problems, give me a shout on Discord or in the comment sections below. I do have a Patreon and a buy a coffee, so if you appreciate my work, any contribution is a great help. See you in the next one. Bye.